running back, they took Najee Harris out of Alabama, the most productive back of all of those that have been there since Nick Saban became their coach. 2 picks later, the Cleveland Browns took cornerback Greg Newsome out of Northwestern, so addressing that defensive secondary. Their roster looking loaded at this point. And then immediately after that, the Ravens took Rashad Bateman, 27th overall, wide receiver out of Minnesota, who was big and fast and might just be the player to help shift around the dynamics of that offense. And so right now, as we take a look at our friends at Caesars Sportsbook, they see Baltimore as the favorite in the division, with Baker Mayfield and company not far behind at all, and the Steelers just behind that. And so the reason I wanted to bring this up as I bring the crew back in here is, we're kind of done now. It's funny how these things, it feels as though we have forever, and then it sneaks up on us. We had the free agency. Now we had the NFL draft. So there's a little bit of wheeling and dealing left to come. But by and large, these are the teams we're going into next season with. So as of right now, Jeff Darlington, I'll start with you. Who's the best team in the AFC North?
I believe the Steelers. I'm surprised to see plus 400 there for the Steelers. I really just think that they got much better in the draft with Najee Harris and adding a couple offensive linemen. I think this is a championship caliber defense, even after losing Bud Dupree. I'm higher on the Steelers right now than I certainly was last year. I know the Browns are what they are, but I'm saying Steelers here. I think the Steelers win this division.
It's interesting, a team that was 11-0 at one point and has since been left for dead by most people, but not by Jeff Darlington. Mike T., how about you?
This is a two-man race between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns, and on the last drive of the last game of the season in overtime, Lamar Jackson scores and gives the division to Baltimore, and here's why. Eric DeCosta did a great job in the offseason. He attacked the 32nd ranked offense in terms of passing yards, and they signed Sammy Watkins and then drafted Tylan Wallace and Rashad Bateman. I love when you turn a weakness. It doesn't even have to be a strength, Green, just be average, and this is going to be Baltimore's division.
Yeah, you heard him mention Tylan Wallace, who was a wide receiver with a lot of potential out of Oklahoma State, who they drafted later in the draft to go along with Rashad Bateman, who we mentioned. RC, why were you laughing?
Because I just love the fact that Tannenbaum, like the GM focal point for Tannenbaum always gives him like these great answers. And then you got Jeff, who started off and he said he was higher on the Steelers than other people. I mean, as Jeff Saturday would certainly say, he's certainly high if he thinks that the Steelers are going to win, because this is for the Cleveland Browns. Listen, when you look at what the Cleveland Browns have done throughout this offseason, you talk about a team taking a weakness and not making it average, but making it really good. John Johnson, Troy Hill, you draft Greg Newsome, you bring in Jadeveon Clowney, you get Owusu Kamara, who should have been a first-round draft pick, but he had a heart condition. If he's healthy and if he can play, you've now added one of those pieces that now you can be in a base defense against sub packages or against 11 personnel offensively. The Cleveland Browns are the best team in this division. They have a quarterback that's on the rise. You get Odell Beckham Jr. back, and Kevin Stefanski is a star at the coaching position. And so, do I want to say the Steelers are the team? Absolutely. I love to sit here and lie with you and chill with Jeff Darlington and now be a darling in Pittsburgh. But it's going to be the Brownies that finally really go to the Super Bowl. And we're not talking about just after eating Mexican food.
Why? Well, go ahead, Jeff. I'll give you a minute. Go.
No, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm sick of the whole Browns thing. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm more willing to give the Steelers the benefit of the doubt than the Cleveland Browns. You can call me lazy in that take. That's fine. I'll believe it when I see it.
All right. I will take it a step further than RC did. You can put the Browns helmet under my face, or under my name, I should say, and I'll say this. There is every reason to believe the Browns should be better this year than they were a year ago. So I'll take it this step farther. I believe the Browns are the single biggest threat to Kansas City in the AFC going into this season. And that's inclusive of Buffalo and absolutely everybody else. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. What do you think, RC?
Hey, I'm with you, Greeny. Remember early on in this offseason, I took a lot of heat for putting them number 2 in the AFC, and they've just gotten better since. Great mind think alike, Greeny, and like you said, we will not be appreciated until we are gone.
Right, till long after our time. Guys, stay close. Much more football as we go, but let me get to the baseball last night. The scene last night. Astros, Yankees. If you ever wondered, what do they mean when they say Bronx cheer? They mean this. That was the reception that Jose Altuve got, and most of the Astros got last night. Into the light of the fans, Altuve would pop out there. So here we go. Then we go to the bottom of the first. Giancarlo Stanton, when he hits them, they stay hit. Look at that one, launching a 2-0 curveball from Zach Greinke down the left field line, 2-run shot. Stanton's 7th of the year, gave the Yanks a 2-1 lead. Now 6th inning, tied at 3, bases loaded for DJ LeMahieu. Here comes a play. Here comes Bregman. Here comes a bare hand. Here comes the throw. Oh, it's going to get away. Odor's going to try and score. Watch the collision at the plate here. Martin Maldonado is the catcher. Odor is coming in hard, and boom. Oh, that one, you take a look at Maldonado. He goes down. Down they both go. Both players would leave the game. We're waiting for updates on them. Meanwhile, the next batter is Stanton, and Stanton hitting them where they ain't. Big night for Giancarlo Stanton. He had 4 hits, 3 ribs, and the Yankees get a win to the delight of their fans by a final score of 7-3. And our friend Robert Stanberry Only III, otherwise known as Buster, gets up with us here this morning. What was your reaction to the reception that we got for the Astros at Yankee Stadium last night, Buster?
And Granny, let's be honest, we played the polite part of the reception. The other part, we would get fined by the FCC because of how the Yankee fans reacted. Look, this was a window for Astros players into the rest of their baseball lives. Because what happened in 2017, 2018 with sign stealing is an indelible part of the legacy. And this is how fans, how some of their opponents are always going to react to them. Look, I think Jose Altuve has a chance to be a Hall of Fame player. He's going to make a speech in Cooperstown someday. He's going to get booed in Cooperstown. And they're never going to be able to get away from that. It's only a question of how they're going to be able to deal with it.
Oh, there's so much to unpack in just that sentence. I would love to do it sometime on the radio. But meantime, let me get to the next order of business, and that is Jacob deGrom, who is probably right now the best player in baseball, but was scratched from his start yesterday with a lat injury. What do we know?
The Mets are cautiously optimistic that he isn't going to miss a significant amount of time. Look, they didn't put him on the injured list after getting the results back from the examination yesterday. They're saying that he just has that inflammation, so they're hoping that he only is backed up a few days. And let's face it, he's the most important player in that franchise. 122 batters faced this year, 59 strikeouts. Let's hope that this is only a case where he just misses a few days.
Yeah, he's been ridiculous. He's actually a good hitter, too. He's a better hitter than most people are when they're facing him. Finally, we have a new feature here, and it is called Bet the Family Farm. And that is because Buster grew up on a Vermont dairy farm. And so here's my question. If you had to bet the family farm, would you say Mike Trout is poised for the best season of his already brilliant career?
Yeah, and let's face it, I'm not going to bet the likes of Daniel Boone, my former Angus steer, lightly. And so Mike Trout is a safe bet. He is absolutely having the best season of his career, hitting .410, .779 slugging percentage. And that's because baseball Superman has figured out his kryptonite, which had always been high fastballs, Greeny. This year, he's even hitting those. He's got the X-ray vision and the superpower against high fastballs, hitting .316 with a .632 slugging percentage. He's 29. He's in his prime, hyper competitive. He's putting all that experience together, having an amazing season.
Just look at the on-base percentage. He gets on base more often than he does.